This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, we now bring you a discussion on Election Commission guidelines to regulate campaign on social media. The participants are Suhas Borkar, convener Jan Prasar, and Annapurna Jha, journalist.
India has a huge young population and youth are increasingly dependent on social media. Importance of social media has also been recognized by various political parties and candidates who are contesting elections. Even the political parties, their social media unit, experts are being hired, candidates are being trained, smartphones are being given so that they can use optimally the social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, other things to propagate their ideas and lure or convince youth to vote for them. But this is one area which is totally unregulated. The content of social media sites, there's no regulation as such. So the Election Commission yesterday has come out with strict guidelines. Candidates who are using social media for advertisements, uploading their content or campaigning, they have to give details of it, and whatever advertisement is posted on these sites, it should be approved. And the expenditure that has incurred on these advertisements will be counted in their election expenses. This is a far-reaching decision by the Election Commission, and it has come out just before the assembly polls in 5 states, including Delhi, where the youth are really very, very active on social media sites. How do you view this development that has come about?
I personally think it's a very positive development, and it should have happened much before. For instance, when we had the paid news imbroglio, the Election Commission woke up very late. Now it's being proactive, and I must commend the Election Commission on its proactiveness. On the 27th of September this year, the Supreme Court gave its judgment on Nota. The very same day, the Election Commission assured the nation that it will immediately implement it. So these are positive developments. The Election Commission, I think, is in tandem with the, as you rightly said, the social development sweeping the country, educated youth getting more and more involved with social media. So the Election Commission is now in tune with these social developments. But one has to be, a little careful in the implementation of this whole process, because it is rightly said that the content of the social media now is within the purview of the Election Commission. There was no regulation at all. Now that is going to be monitored. That's a very positive development. But it should not impact on, the freedom of expression, because I have a blog, for instance, and I want to write something on the entire election scenario I see close to me. It could be in any district in the country. There are so many youngsters who are blogging. How will it impact on them? Because after all, you cannot curb freedom of expression. That is our constitutional fundamental right.
Mr. Borkar, that has brought us to the next step. This is a very good step, initiative that has got far-reaching impact. But the implementation aspect, you are rightly saying it is a complicated thing, because right now social media is totally an ungoverned state. But one aspect of it is freedom of expression, but at the same time the responsibility. Like in social media, whose image is impacted by negative comments, they don't have any recourse to counter that. Otherwise, they can also get involved in that negative campaigning. How do you think that the government or the Election Commission is going to implement this? Apart from implementation at the candidate and political party level, there are so many proxy people who will be campaigning for the candidate or particular party. How is the Election Commission going to monitor all those people who are doing the work for the candidates?
The Election Commission has to be very responsible in this, and I think the media certification and monitoring committees at the district and the state level will play a responsible role in this. What worries me is the proxy social media, because now you have not only proxies stationed internally in India, but there are proxies abroad. Many political parties have their supporters, non-resident Indians, OCIs. They are stationed abroad and they are deeply involved in the election process, and they have launched websites. They are monitoring even constituency level in the assembly polls, for instance in Delhi. So now that is going to be a problem, but I believe that the Election Commission is now consulting the other departments and coming out with a working solution. But it is going to be tough, And I think not only is it going to be tough, it has to be handled with kid gloves and very responsibly.
You are right, because sensitivity of the people, that election commission or any government or administration can't be seeing that they are curbing the freedom of expression, especially after the kind of uproar after emergency when the freedom of expression was curbed. So any administration has to be very, very sensitive. But at the same time, when you are talking about that there are proxy or the call centers being hired, or people like hundreds and thousands of so-called volunteers, paid volunteers, who are involved in campaigning for parties and candidates. How is the Election Commission going to check them? How is that expense going to be included in that of political parties or candidates?
Election expenditure is done through a complex web of channels, So I'm afraid that the same web will be used to kind of get around the Election Commission guidelines. But now the Election Commission is playing a very proactive role. It is woken up and is monitoring. And the setting up of these committees at the district and the state level, the media certification and monitoring committees, with very responsible people on them, I think is going to play a positive role. But it's a kind of a developing story.
That's true.
It's we can't. How they do it, we can only put signposts of caution. But I hope they are cautious, and I hope they are also strict. You see, the other point is that how do you, when you realize that somebody has done it, how do you nab him? The law is very weak in this. There is 171H of the IPC, which says that whosoever without the authority of the candidate does an expenditure, for instance on the social media, he shall be punishable with a fine of rupees 500. You see, now what is this? We have to link up with the People's Representation Act, and it has to go in tandem. There has to be strict laws. 500 rupees, if you have a limit, well, how do you do it? The People's Representation Act has to be linked up. That there's no mention in the in this present guidelines, because everything has to go in tandem. Otherwise, how will you control the situation? And then you just give a stricture and you warn, and then the person gets away. That has also happened. It's on record. Yeah. That has happened. Now, that won't do.
Very right, because I think the law and the present scenario has to be in tandem. It can't be 500 rupees maybe when the rule or guideline was framed was a huge amount, but today nobody would mind paying 500 rupees and getting away with violating the guidelines. This thing. So the government at the administration level, I think the new laws have to be framed, and the strict implementation is the major issue, because 500 rupees or getting away with censure or condemnation of the Election Commission, these days we find that so many violations are happening in every election, and prominent people, not small-time candidates of assembly, but big leaders, they violate it. So how do you think that this lacuna, the gap between the two, the present scenario when the social media is being used and crores of rupees are spent, it's not 500 rupees or 1,000 or even not in lakhs, but crores of rupees spent on a particular candidate's campaigning these days. It's now, elections can't be fought by common people who have limited financial resources. So how do you think this gap or this lacuna will be fulfilled?
That is of course true, and it's a very sad commentary on our democracy, that either you have a very high-profile parentage, who's already in politics, or you have money bags behind you, or you have criminals behind you who get you through into parliament or into the assemblies. Now, that's a very sad commentary. But I think as we develop as a democracy, now look at the recent developments when youth came out on the streets right across, and they demanded whatever it was, whether it was the safety of women or it was on a certain law, but they did come out. Now that shows that there is a kind of a new and very bright linkage developing between the future stakeholders of the country and the future politics of this country.
Because these movements that rightly pointed out, they also, I think political parties have woken up to the power of youth, how they can be mobilized. That is why the use of social media has gone up very much during the recent time in political scenario, we should say, with political parties having training camps and all those for their own candidates, how to use it effectively and reach out to the youth who are not ready to come out, and they are not dependent on the conventional modes of campaigning, or they don't get influenced so easily by the verbal or speeches and all those newspaper things. So social media is now you see the kind of revolution that has happened in Arab countries, where the social media played a very major role. So political parties and even election commission has realized that social media is a very crucial role, and till the time it is regulated, it has to be brought out. It has to be some kind of a monitoring has to be done. Otherwise you can't leave it unregulated and used or misused by various elements.
No, I agree with you that the social media is a great mobilizing force. I mean, you can have a meeting in a city like Delhi through the social media, and you can collect thousands and thousands of people. Now that was not possible earlier. But you also have to keep in mind the limitations of the social media, because after all, you have to have a linkage with the virtual world. Now that virtual world linkage comes at a cost. Now how many in this country can afford to pay that cost? There is a lot of people below the media line, and that includes the social media. So people cannot afford the social media also, So that while we have to say that it plays an important role, but there's a flip side to it, that a large chunk of our people is outside the social media. So that has also to be kept in mind while we discuss this whole process.
Yeah, you are quite right, because a large chunk of people are outside social media, especially the elderly and those who are not in the metropolitan cities and those not in that strata who can afford computer or internet services. So that is agreeable, but still the increasing use by the youth of these social media sites and YouTube and Twitter and all those things, that we have seen recently incidents when they led to a virtual riot kind or panic kind of situation, when people have to flee from a particular state and city because of the campaign against them. So social media can play a very positive role against, be it corruption or any other issue, or the dowry or any other issue which affects our society, but at the same time it can be negatively used to incite violence, communal tension, etc. So that, I think, some kind of this election commission, though it is in the context of elections only, but I think regulation of some sort will come into this ungoverned space.
No, that's very true. In fact, this whole idea of media as pure business, and that flag is waved to curb all forms of regulation, I think that's very wrong. Anywhere in the world where the market has come, there is a close degree of regulation. Without regulation, you cannot even have a free market, because there will be the big money bags who will wipe out the others and control and monopolize. Now that's not a free market when there are monopolies. That of course is true, but we have to go through this very cautiously. And caution, I think, should be the catchword for the Election Commission.
You are right. This is a very good step. It's a very good initiative. It will lead to this monitoring of the use or misuse of social media sites by candidates and political parties, because there will be some rules under which they will be governed, and they will have to account for their campaigning content as well as their advertisement and the expenses incurred on it. But at the same time, implementation has to be done cautiously, as you rightly said earlier, and we hope that it will have a positive impact on our future electoral polity and governance of this country. Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion on Election Commission guidelines to regulate campaign on social media. The participants were Suhas Borkar, convener, Jan Prasar, and Annapurna Jha, journalist. It came to you in the program News Analysis, produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.nit.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.